Right then, the sun could quite easily be setting on one of the most illustrious careers in world football, and that is that of Casemiro. And whether or not it sets permanently or if it just sets on the stage of Manchester United, the fella's on a decline in his career. And I love the player he was last year, and I love the player he was before that. He was one of the most underrated players in Europe, and at one point was probably one of the best midfielders in Europe as well. But we cannot continue to cling on to what was for much longer. A rebuild requires that. And he has the quality to still probably go pretty much anywhere and play football. The seemingly obvious destination is Saudi Arabia, but you got to think, is that a destination that he's going to sooner rather than later? The big money won't last there forever. It will probably level off at some point. It might be the optimal time for him to go, especially when you hear that going to Saudi Arabia wasn't an option for people that were playing for United last season because United didn't have the contacts there, which is honestly disgraceful, isn't it? But it is what it is. United have to identify a replacement quickly before the season starts and you're forced to bring someone in on inflated wages and an inflated transfer fee, which is what happened with Casemiro in the first place because you was in panic mode. Prior planning and preparation does prevent piss poor performances. And ultimately, I think United have been so reactive to things. If you just get proactive and recognise, look, Casemiro's going to need moving on. Let's sit around the table now and discuss who could potentially be a good replacement for him and who is gettable as a replacement for him. Start that work now. Before you know it, you've got your replacement in. He's there to start pre-season and you're off and flying. Now, I've got 5 possible Casemiro replacements. There's some different styles of replacements here, but I'd like to know your thoughts on who you would like to replace Casemiro. Do it before you hear my 5, so I don't influence your decision anyway. Let me know, and then at the end, give me another comment and say, actually, I had the same as you, or I didn't think of him, or maybe you just think I've picked the wrong person altogether. So, first and foremost, number 1 on the list, Tchouaméni. Now, in retrospect, offering Real Madrid 70 million for Casemiro instead of Tchouaméni probably was a mistake. Now, maybe Tchouaméni wasn't gettable at the time, but maybe we got the wrong number 6. Now, Tchouaméni loves the ball. He moves it around very nicely. He's in the 98th percentile for pass completion, 90th percentile for passes attempted. He is a staple that Real Madrid do play through, which may make it difficult to get him out of Real Madrid. 94th percentile for clearances, 91st percentile for aerials won. This is a player that does the dirty side of the game as well as the beautiful side of the game. And for me, that says a lot about him. The most important stat with Tchouaméni, though, is those interceptions, because it really reflects the type of player that he is. He's in the 95th percentile for interceptions, while making significantly less tackles than midfield counterparts. That tells you that he gets into the right positions to block off the passing lanes, to leap in and grab a loose ball. He stops attacks in really good areas. Now, I don't know how much he would cost. I don't know if Real Madrid need to sell. I mean, FFP has to eventually bite them sometime, surely. With what they're about to do with Mbappe, do they have wiggle room that they need to create? This might be an option for him. Number 2 is Premier League, but I still think it might be someone that's worth looking at, and that is Amadou Onana. So at 22, Onana is the exact sort of profile of player that United should be looking at. He's absolutely rapid, physically dominates midfields, and he's able to cover monstrous amounts of ground. And Amadou Onana is an athletic anomaly. He is a massive 6'4", but he's also agile and energetic. And I'd say he's probably integral to anything that Everton do well. I think his ball playing is underrated. I certainly wouldn't put him in the same bracket as someone like a Tchouaméni. But he does have decent pass accuracies in a very direct team. It's 84.1%. He does position himself in a way where he can receive the ball and bounce it quickly to those around him. That's what you want in that position. I think he's quite aware of his surroundings, and I think that's the sort of defensive midfielder that could step into United alongside a Bruno and a Mayu and put themselves in good areas. Number 3, Manuel Locatelli. Now, Locatelli is another option that I think you can bring into the conversation. Currently plays for Juventus, and their financial troubles could open up the door for a cut price deal. He's got class, which he shows in Italy. He plays to an insanely high standard, and he does all of the simple things really well, and that's kind of what draws me to him a little bit. I think he would definitely take to the Premier League quite well, as proven by his successes at Sassuolo under De Zerbi. And he's currently valued at 33 million euros on Transfermarkt, which is a price tag that, if that's even close to reality, would probably depend on the desperation of Juventus to offload him and recoup some funds. But if that's how much he would be going for, then sign me up, because that's an absolute bargain. Number 4, Youssouf Fofana. So Fofana's a very interesting player, I think, because this is a monumental job. And Fofana can play as like that hybrid 6/8. He's got all the sort of attributes you would want for a player that can drive the ball forward, but also one that can sit and dictate the tempo that little bit. And he also does his defensive duties. And you can ask him to do probably every single job in midfield, whether that's acting like a destroyer, charging from box to box. Fofana can do it all. I think he's really talented. At 24, still quite young, but it's like a really good age kind of profile. I think he's got some very high quality attributes, like the range of passing that he's got, his class, his dueling's really up there with the best in his position. And I think he's definitely a shout. Currently, Monaco are a club you can get a player out of. So I don't think his price would be too high. His current valuation is supposedly 30 to 40 million euros. I think it'd be more than that, but I don't think it'd be much more than that. Number 5. Kobbie Mainoo. And you're sitting there going, wait, we already have Kobbie Mainoo. Yep, we do already have a Kobbie Mainoo, but there's still a conversation to be had about what position Kobbie Mainoo plays and what position is his best position. Is he a 6? Is he an 8? Some of the stuff that we've seen him do on the edge of the box, linking play and getting shots off, suggests that he's probably more of an 8 than a 6. He can do the deep line playmaker role nice. But is he a destroyer? I don't think he is a destroyer. I think he's an intelligent playmaking footballer that you want him to get on the ball. So I think you need a pair of legs alongside him that's just going to smash stuff, turn around and give him the ball. No, he's got every quality you could want. The passing range is great. The control is world class. The physicality is already starting to get there for his age. His composure is ice cold. He picks a pass out. He gets out of tight spaces. He's press resistant. And he's in impeccable form at the moment. If he can pick up some experience, if he can learn off some of the players that are around him, he's going to look so much better next year. And if you can give him the role of moving the ball forward and even scoring some goals in a manner that Casemiro has done for us, put someone like a 6 alongside him, I think you have to consider that the replacement for Casemiro is the guy that's currently covering for him on the pitch. Anyway, that's my thoughts. There's 5 options for you. There are loads more out there. There's not really any wrong answers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.